The factory tour went ahead with the stream with Devon leading the way. He made a couple of gaffes regarding the team working for him. It's not a great look for Constable as a whole, and I don't think some of the engineers in attendance were too happy about it. Add to the fact that team building days had to be rescheduled, and morale is quite low. Well, that's what you do when you have a son of a father that owns your team. Although Lawrence and Lance Stroll, that doesn't seem to happen at all there. So, damn. So here's a it's
Davido.
oh, interesting.
So, I had a word with Aiden.
And?
Nothing to worry about. Don't think there'll be any more problems.
What did you say?
Doesn't matter. We level with each other. Just leave Aiden to me from now on.
And, what about Devon?
What about Devon?
We both know it wasn't the comms, right?
Yep.
Andrea, listen. Devon may push his luck from time to time, but I won't have his integrity questioned. If he says it was the comms, then you know what to do. Yes?
Huh.
Right. Sure. I'll have them checked again.
See that you do.
Yeah, he knows, but he's going to protect his son, naturally. Interesting. He's really pressuring Andrea, but he's trying to keep Aiden in check. See, that's why I said earlier, I don't know if I believe everything he was saying to Aiden, quite frankly. It's almost... Is he trying to cause a rift to force Aiden out, or not? See, I don't think so. In that conversation, I don't think that's the case. He obviously doesn't want to... Because he says the best driver we have, and we know he's being discussed, but if Devon... If your son is in your team that you're funding... I don't know, I mean, that's divine, don't do it. And they've got actually the thing on the screen I saw. Davidoff's hard to read. That makes him very hard to read, but maybe he's being truthful because he almost acknowledges that Devon is who he is and accepts that fact. So I'll keep an eye on that. Davidoff's a bit hard to read. I don't think he's an absolute, like, I'm going to favour my son in every which way and screw the second driver and whatever else happens. He doesn't seem to be like that. Because he seemed very convincing with Aiden, but maybe that's just a front. But I don't know. He's hard to read for the moment. Don't know if I like him or not. Jury's still out. Someone on social media immediately saying that Butler is only driving with such an attitude precisely because of his father funds the team. Yeah, it does seem like, Devon probably thinks he is untouchable because my dad owns this company, so he does have that kind of character trait. Not a lot of people in real life don't, I'm not saying that's a thing, but it does seem that they're kind of going that way, that he has that character trait, and he knows it. And he knows it, he's not afraid to make it known either. Nobody can confirm what really happened until Constable puts out an official statement. One thing that is clear, however, is that Butler certainly seemed to ignore a direct order to let his teammate pass. We can only wait and see what the repercussions, if any, will be for Butler, and will the team be handling the infraction internally or not at all, and even if they do, will we hear anything about it? Fans and pundits alike are calling the incident outrageous, with some going as far as claiming it to be an indicator that Butler now sees himself as too big for the team. Also in the grid for Ice Fortunes is starting to look up as Charles Leclerc proved once again you cut it off. Why did they do that? Why don't they just finish what they're saying with a point that makes sense? As anyone may go down into the basement, that Devon really opens up, surrounded by a classic car collection that reaches well into double figures. It's clear that driving is Devon Butler's life. I like to come down here where I feel at peace, running his hand along the bodywork of his cars. Reminds me of how fortunate I am. Here in this home environment, the arrogant and cocky demeanour beloved by Devon's fans and despised by his detractors seems far more subtle than controlled, but only just. But I can't take them out as often as I'd like, too busy travelling the world and showing the part-timers how to win races. But that's life. You haven't won any races, dude. Confirmed what many have suspected all along, that behind closed doors always not well with the Consports camp. Devon cares about Devon first, and I won't be bent to that. So it's a furious Jackson when person on the rivalry, which marked back to 2021 and indeed returned. This was an egregious on-track incident where Butler seemed to ignore a direct team order, blocking his very angry teammate in the process. Especially is on fire after Jackson's on-camera ripties. With many uniform fans delighted at the prospect of even more drama erupting from the Consport panic. So, Consport themselves have been unable to comment if other teams and drivers refuse to answer questions on the subject. So, here is when Seb announced his retirement. Vettel once again said that he would only join social media once he retired. There was a scene of poetry to him opening his account and an absolute storm, and immediately posting an intimate sit-down in video announcing his retirement at the end of the season. We tend to think of F1 drivers as cybers, sports people, elevated above the moral concerns of the latter. But Vettel, or Seb as he's known to his fans, reminds us that that is far from the case. Reintroducing himself as a father and as a husband, sharing his love for chocolate, the smell of fresh bread, his belief in equality and climate justice. And so the long farewell begins. Let's savour it, starting with this weekend. Well, it begins. Aston Martin have announced the signing of the one and only Fernando Alonso, replacing the retiring Vettel. And they do so under the noses of Alonso's current employees, Alpine, whose sources were unaware of the move. Vintage. But as one door closes, another opens with an exciting opportunity that creates for the young Oscar Piastri, Alpine's reserve driver for the 2021 and the F1 2020 and the 2021 F2 champion. I can't fucking read. Surely now he is poised for the full-time seat in Formula 1 deserved. About that. Do you know what? I was absolutely flabbergasted when I thought the announcement of Alonso to Aston Martin was complete fake. I thought it was fake. I was like, no chance. Because Aston Martin weren't exactly on top form back then. You know, they weren't the kind of team Alonso would go for. And I'm thinking, great. Another bad move for Alonso. I mean, it is kind of working out, but he hasn't won yet. But, yeah. It's, I honestly thought it was fake, and I honestly don't think it's going to be that much of a fortuitous move, but that's only because Red Bull is so dominant right now. So with Benta Butler, one Devon would have to say to that. I don't think he's going to care. I'm forward about Davidoff. Wouldn't want to upset Big Daddy Butler. Well, I don't think Davidoff was that bothered either. Still find it nuts that Constable for the Butler Jesse pairing was a good idea. But many people saying what I did at the start. Everyone who really is in charge of a team. Well, yes. Notice Davidoff Butler is intended to stay. No wonder Devon's playing up. Far from couple troubles to daddy issues. And the signs of life finally for Mercedes. Who would have predicted this start for them at the end of last year? Right? Andrew is wishing he'd stuck to tennis. Far less drama. Still, at least they're bringing the points. Airbase Jackson bringing it to 10th. Calm, consistent, world-class driver racing for the wrong team. World-class is a bit of a stretch. Must be just drive the car when you have a spare wheel. Can't stand the nepotism. Maybe feel fuzzy inside to see Aiden get past Devon despite his talk-to-the-hand attitude. Yum. Don't get all that hate for Butler. You've got to be minded. You've got to be that minted to be part of it, sure. But he can obviously drive. Obviously someone didn't watch Abu Dhabi 21 then. Okay, so this is in full swing. Who had Alonso to Aston Martin? Did not see that coming. No one did, mate. No one did. Especially me. Diplomatic when asked about continuing car problems had to be far more yeah. He's right though. Everyone is working as hard as possible. The team is bigger than one driver. Great to see Aiden acknowledging it. So it's pretty cool how they react to what you say. That's pretty cool. It's been a joy to watch Vettel's career. Can he bow out as one of the greats of modern era? Probably not. I mean, he's a great for sure, but I think a lot of people. I think if he had won the two titles in 2017 and 18, I think we would have had a totally different discussion. That's all I'll say. It's just a shame he couldn't do that. I was rooting for him so hard in those 2 years. I'll admit, I wasn't really. Well, no, it's not that I wasn't Vettel's biggest fan. I actually was, because of his it was easy for me to lean to Vettel because of his what's the word? His links to Schumacher, so to speak. So it was very easy for me to gravitate for him, and I was really rooting him in 17, 18. But by the end of 18, I don't mean this unkindly, but I was kind of frustrated with him, and I'd given up hope, really. At the end of 2018, I was like, that's it. I have no faith that he can do this anymore. But that's only because I was rooting for him so hard to emulate Schumacher and what he did. He doesn't need that team orders to get around Butler. What a pro. But yeah, I don't mean like unkindly for Vettel. It's just I was a real fan of him, but lost real faith and was kind of frustrated. And I think if he had won those 2 titles, we'd be having a real different discussion. But the fact is, he didn't. And I think some people are forced to overblow it because it's Vettel. But it's funny because Vettel had a total 180 flip, as often drivers do. Because he was one of the most hated drivers in the sport at one point. Everyone hated the guy, whereas I didn't. And I never did, to be honest. But everyone hated the guy, but by the end of his career, he's absolutely adored. And I think the same happens with every driver that dominates for a couple of years, or 3 years, or 4 years in Vettel's case. And then he goes into retirement and you think, hey, this guy isn't so bad. But I think Christian Horner had it right. Christian Horner, I think, said, because Vettel wasn't dominating win the sport anymore, a lot of people started to see the human side of Vettel and really like that side of him. You didn't really see it back in the day because he was a winner. He wasn't arrogant or cocky. There was no arrogance or cocky bone in Vettel's body. I will say that. He had none of that. He was probably a little bit over frustrated at times, but I don't think it was because I sometimes did think he took his number 1 role and ran with it. So he knew he would. He was the number 1 and he wanted priority and all stuff like that. But I don't think it was really that. I think the guy just wanted to win. He wanted to emulate Schumacher so bad because he was such a fan of him, and I kind of understand that. But Christian Horner had it completely right. Now that we know the human side of Vettel, we fall in love with him a lot more. And Schumacher was the same. A lot of people didn't really hate Schumacher anymore because they saw his more human side as he wasn't winning anymore. A lot of people were still critical of him, because he was past it at 43 and he was having these crashes that probably could have been avoided. But the overall feeling around Schumacher wasn't as bad as it was in the 90s, and particularly, well, not particularly the 2000s. It was more in the 90s. The 90s, there's battles with Hill, and it's kind of like what Verstappen and Hamilton's going through. Probably not as bad or exactly the same, because the British people stand for their British drivers, and anyone who's fighting them is immediately the enemy. And Max is really experiencing that the last couple of years. Although I think it has calmed down a little bit, maybe because Hamilton's not really fighting anymore at the moment because the car is a fucking boat. But to be fair to Hamilton, he's pulled out some very stunning drives, and I think over the last couple of years, I think he's proved how decent he can be in a car that's not the top 3. It's just I think it's a crime shame that Hamilton hasn't won in a race in the last couple of years, because he's had performances that deserve it and would really kind of eliminate the factor of can Hamilton be the best can Hamilton only win in the best car. I would love him to win, and because a lot of people are still going to have that stigma on him. I don't personally, because like I said, I think he had stunning races over the last couple, like last year and this year in particular. But he's still going to have that stigma, and I think once he wins a race, that'll remove it. So I hope he does soon. Anyway, I'm waffling. We've checked, double-checked, and triple-checked the comms. 0 problems or faults every single time. Even when we tried to cause a fault to replicate what could have happened during the race, they came back perfect. Why am I not surprised? Happy to send a full technical report or even give you a physical demo if you want to pop down. But between us, I think the problem may lie with the driver. Let us know if you want to keep going or how we should draw a line under it. That's no problem at all. There's no issue with the flight. We've already rebooked it. Business class, the same as before. The only problem is the hotel with Antonio coming out earlier. They haven't got a room for the extra 3 days, so I've booked him in the Lancaster. It's only a couple of streets away from where you're all staying, but it's definitely an upgrade. I really hope he likes it. I'm also curious to find out why he wanted to fly out early. Has he told you anything further, or has it been left as I have some news? Cool. I would get to see his dad. That would be pretty cool. Alright, so what do we got here?
Hey, we need your input on this one.
Being the new team on the grid has its advantages. Our merchandise has proved really popular, which is more than what we were expecting, with some lines either sold out or stock running low. We've had a word with the sportswear division though, and they can't increase production without offering other Connor Sport lines, affecting other Connor Sport lines. This issue is a bit bigger than just your F1 interest. Well, I can't increase production because it's locked. So I'll have to make do. Yeah. The R&D department have been in touch. They need to finalize the schedule for the coming months in order to cement their plans for next season. They are keen to shift focus solely towards the 2023 car now, but there are some conflicting opinions in the engineering as they believe some easy gains to be made this season. Where should they focus their efforts? I'm immediately leaning towards the 23 car because this season has been an absolute write-off. So I'm immediately thinking to the 23 car. We can't do both because it's locked, and I should have really probably gone for that bonus objective now. I'm really regretting that. I think we're going to make do with the best we have this year. More development time we get on the next year's car will pay dividends down the road. Yes, 23 car, definitely. This season's a write-off, why not?
So what about Callie Mayer? Was she
Aha!
on the radar at this point?
Of course. She was making big waves in F2. And Ackerman would not shut up about it.
I was going to say exactly that, yeah. So the introduction of Callie Mayer. Here we go. This is what I've been waiting for. Upcoming British F2 driver Callie Mayer finds herself dominating the competition in the sprint race at Zandvoort. Not content to sit out in front leading the race, Mayer and the team at Trident decide to opt for an unorthodox strategy. She's employing the Charles Leclerc strategy in Bahrain in that sprint race back in 2017, was it? That's what it sounds like. Oh, funny that we're starting at Zandvoort, so we're actually getting an early look at her and not being in Abu Dhabi, winning the title.
Here's our race leader, Callie Mayer. She has been blisteringly fast around Zandvoort here today.
So I'm going to assume...
And look at that! She's going into pit!
Interesting strategy they've decided on there. She has been lapping at rapid pace, but is this the right call?
She wants to make a
Yeah, it's a
point.
good move, for sure. Looks crazy to me, but let's find out.
She wants to make a point. I like
She
it.
goes then on brand new tyres. The rest of the field still sticking with their original set. Where exactly does Callie Mayer come out?
She wants to
Let's
make a
see.
point and pass some cars. She just doesn't want to lead. She wants to earn it. I like that. I like that a lot. I like this girl already.
Okay, Callie, let's go. We're going to leave it to you. You know what to do. Come on. Copy that. Come on out.
Nice. Alright, girl, let's do this. Win the race. Hopefully the F2 cars might be a bit easier to handle. Oh my god, the game froze again. It's just going to keep doing that, isn't it? I'm having real problems with that. I don't know whether it's the game or the PC. I don't know. I doubt it's the PC. I mean, I am recording, obviously, so I think that might affect it, but I'm not sure. It's not happening all the time, whereas, you know, it's not like it's happening all race. So, I'm not sure what's happening there. obviously the 2022 Formula 2 lineup, which always launches with the game, and then the 2023 season comes later. I'm not always entirely sure why that happens, to be honest. Oh, God. Jack, you could have braked a little bit later there, dude. Caught me out. Down in 12th, by the way. I wish we got to see that move that Casper was talking about. I'm going to assume she's not really like Devon, and the reason I believe that is because I don't think Casper would really want to work with her if she was, because of all the run-ins he had with Devon in the previous year. So I'm gonna guess Callie's not as arrogant or, you know, overconfident like Devon is. So I guess they're going down the woman trailblazer route that Callie's going to have here. You know, she wins the F2 championship and becomes a trailblazer for women in motorsport. I always thought Susie Wolf or Jamie Chadwick would have done that. Or Maria Di Bellotto. I think they were like the three most notably. In the modern era, anyway. Wasn't there, like, I don't remember her name, but I think there might have been a woman in the 90s that made an appearance somewhere. I could be wrong about that, though. Roy Nasani being Roy Nasani. Costume there. Yeah, this is definitely the Charles Leclerc at Bahrain Sprint Race strategy. So Trident was her team of choice. I wonder why that was. She actually has, like, her name on the halo. That's a nice detail. It's a very nice detail. I like that. So, I'm going to assume that either they have, Devon and Callie have a different mum or a different dad. I'm not sure. And that's what normally happens when they have a different surname, because I know one of Tom Lady's sisters has a different surname. This game skipping is kind of annoying. I don't know why it's happening. It's a bit weird. I mean, it's not really an issue, but definitely is noticeable. It's not a common, like, a constant problem. So I'm not really too worried about it right now. I wonder if she even knows about Devon, if they have, like, different parents. They at least have one different parent, I would assume. So that's normally how it works, because like I said, one of Tom Lady's sisters has a different surname. She's not the same surname as Tom Lady or her oldest sister, for example. Tom Lady's mother's been married twice. sometimes I can only
Great maneuver.
imagine
You made it look
how
so
hard
easy.
that is, you know? I can only imagine. So fortunate, you know? I know how fortunate I am. I have the same parents. Not be moved from home to home for that reason. We moved a lot, but that's only because we kept getting like bigger in terms of a family, you know? We didn't really have that to worry about. I can only imagine how hard that is for some people. Especially if, say, whoa. Oh, come on, the game Dude, this is annoying. This is really annoying me. Why is this happening? Okay, I don't think it was the freeze's fault, to be fair. I probably went the wrong way around. So I will probably accept some of the blame for that. Yeah, I can only imagine how hard that is, especially if you... Say if you're really close to your mum, right, and your mum and dad fall out, and you have to go with your dad. I can only imagine how hard that must have been. That would have been really hard on me if that had ever happened. Because I worship my mum,
Gap to
so
your teammate behind
I can only
is
imagine how difficult that would be.
21.2 seconds.
Honorable mention to Iwaza, he is killing it at the moment. He is absolutely balling in the sport at the moment. He is doing a grand job. He's one of those diamonds in the rough, I think. I think Iwaza's got a lot of talent.
Yellow flag ahead.
Armstrong's gone, so that's another place up. Oh, we've got 2 laps left on P5. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Shit. Maybe it is a bit more of a challenge this year. The grass. Let's see if we can avoid the grass. You didn't see anything. I went on the grass again. Vintage. Let's see if we can avoid that, shall we? There we go. Better. But yeah, maybe they are a bit more challenging this year. Because I'm certainly finding it a bit of a struggle so far. Oh god. It happened again. The curves are deadly on this game, that's for sure. Some people have said that, like some of the curves are deadly. Sometimes you'll just hit them and you'll go straight on if you're coming to speed. That's what's known as the killer curves you should stay away from. I've never really had that issue until this game. I've never really experienced it, but now I am. First in, what was it, Canada, and now this. It was Hungary, wasn't it? It was Hungary where we had a killer curve problem. It's going to be tight whether I do this or not. Of course, Liam Lawson is leading. Don't be surprised to see him in an AlphaTauri or Red Bull at any point. No DRS on Sargent. I wonder what her race number would be if she does come to F1 with Connor Sport 23 for the story. They say either Jackson or Butler may have to move aside for her. I don't know whether all the performance stuff factors that in at all. I very much doubt it. I think it's probably just going to be a fixed story that only changes slightly depending on what you pick, but not really the overall story. Like a Telltale game, because I did see this this video of a game wins that said they said something. I can't remember what he said, but it was something like it changes aspects of the story, not the overall plot, and that's really a good way of thinking about it. I actually like that description. Oh, I'm probably going to get these two on the last lap. Novolov. I don't know who that is. I'm really familiar with him. I know, obviously, Liam Lawson from Red Bull and Sargent from F1 this year. Dennis Hauer I'm kind of familiar with.